DJ EFN.
Yo, what's good? This is Manny Digital. Welcome. Happy New Year! Fatherhoods are back. What's good, y'all? I was
waiting for Kay to do something, but he's like, nah.
You guys held it down.
Yo, Kay was like a deer in headlights right now. It was like, what the fuck just happened? Y'all did anything crazy for the holidays?
Bro, I'm on baby mode still. Actually, I have a question for y'all. And I've been asking a couple people. When your kids were babies or toddlers, did you guys do anything on New Year's? And if you did you take them? And if you took, did you keep them up for the New Year? What did you guys do?
Nah. I've stopped doing stuff on New Year's. I think the only thing that we remotely do is we might go over to a friend's house and bring them with us. And then we'll cook and just hang out there, super low key. And as far as keeping them up, so we're on the West Coast. So what we'll do is we'll keep them up until 9 o'clock and watch the ball drop on the East Coast time. And then,
you have that luxury, yeah.
Yeah, and then we're like, all right, Happy New Year. Let's go to bed. Then we're done. Super low key.
We've played the middle. I think we've tried when they're toddlers. It's rough. So we've done two things. We've tried not to partake, which never works out because of the age differences between the kids. With the oldest, she's always like, "Yo, what's up? Like, we got to do something." So the other two kind of have to fall in line with that. But we tried to when my son was born, there was only two at the time. We tried to make it so that we went to sleep early, but that was a clusterfuck. So then we moved on, and just what we do now, and we've been doing, is sleeping in as late as possible the day of, which means going to sleep really late the day, almost like a practice run the night before, the 31st, right? Then sleep in, have the two little ones take a nap late in the day, like 6 p.m., and then we're ready to go for the turn of time there to the new year.
Can your 5-year-old actually sleep in?
My 6-year-old
or 6-year-old?
No, he does not. It's really difficult for him to sleep past 7 a.m. no matter what time he goes to bed.
Yeah, same here. He goes to bed late. He's still up early, and then he's cranky because he didn't get enough sleep.
Yes. Does he cry? Like when he's mad tired? Does he start
Sometimes he'll get little things. All of a sudden, will set him off, and he starts getting emotional. We're like, all right, you're just overtired.
That shit drives me fucking nuts. But that's exactly what it is. They're just super tired.
Yeah, he definitely gets off for sure.
That's why my girl is militant about our baby's sleeping patterns, because being that she's usually with her, my daughter gets super cranky if she doesn't get a good nap. Her good sleep period, but even the midday nap has to happen. It has to be a good one, and that's just for New Year's we just. I was okay with it. I've been veering away from a lot of New Year's stuff in my own life, period, without kids, without anything, just because New Year's is just, historically is just, why start the new year all hungover and
up.
Be out there in the Wild West, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but yeah, I told her, let's just put her to sleep normal, let her go to sleep. She doesn't even really, the concept of New Year doesn't make sense to her anyways right now. So yeah, there's no point, and she went to sleep, and then a friend of ours is a couple. They actually their New Year's plans fell through, so they ended up coming through, and we just quietly had a couple beers and watched the ball drop, and and had some pizza, and that was our New Year's Eve.
That's kind of nice though.
No, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, it's really gratifying. We didn't have it that way, but our get together was really small. There was, my cousin, his wife and kids came, my mom and my brother were here, and then us. We're a family of 5. So that's relatively small. We, had a little music, all that stuff. So it was a little louder than your environment, but I kind of want what you just described. I just want to chill, watch the ball drop, fucking in my PJs, throw maybe a little champagne down the throat, and then bounce. Off the bed we go.
Actually, this segues into something else that I have a question about, and I might have brought it up before. If I have, just let me know, and we'll keep it moving. But my girl's really, really like, she's like I said, she's really about militant about the sleeping habits and making sure that the schedule's there for sleep, which I totally get. But from before we had the baby and when the baby was born, I was always like telling her I think we should just be like the noise in the house should always maintain how it's always been so that the baby gets used to those noises and can sleep through it. And in the beginning it seemed like it was fine, but I forgot what she told me the other day, but as of like the past, several months, my girl's just like any noise being made, she's like fucking furious about it. Like, me coughing, forget about it. I get evil eye left and right for coughing. I'm like, what? Can I breathe? Am I allowed to breathe? Am I breathing too loud? Like when our friends were here, like if we started laughing too loud at one point, she's like looking at everybody like, and we're like, oh shit. Like if the dog, well, the big one is the dog barking. If anybody comes to the door and she, goes ape shit. So my thing is this, and I've asked a couple other people and they've kind of said that, you should just be as loud as possible when the baby's sleeping and when the kids are sleeping so that they can sleep through that and be used to it no matter what.
I don't know if that's possible.
Right. No, I mean,
I mean, just think about like our own selves sleeping, and if someone's being loud as shit, we're gonna wake up. So I'm wondering why we expect kids to be able to sleep through mad noise.
You don't think there's sorry, man, but you don't think there's a middle ground? Like for example, my girl lived, she for all her life, she lived in a house where it wasn't connected to anybody. For most of my life, I've lived in an apartment or a townhome where I've been connected. So it actually hearing noises, like my girl, when she hears noises, she kind of like freaks out a little bit.
Yeah.
Hearing noises for me is comforting. I always felt like I was never alone, and because there was my neighbors and they were making noise. So it's comforting to me, and silence is sometimes awkward for me. So I can sleep through noise better in that sense. So I feel like there's a middle ground. Like I don't think that we as adults in the house should not be able to move and function the way we normally do in the house. Like now, of course, we shouldn't be screaming. We shouldn't be making stupid noises that are going to wake up the baby.
Right.
But I don't think we should be tippy-toeing because then that it doesn't, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it disables us from our daily lives of getting things done.
No, I agree with you on the middle ground. I mean, I can sleep through loud noise. Again, it kind of just depends on what is the loud noise. If it's someone screaming outside, then that's harder to sleep through probably than car traffic or street noises, that kind of stuff.
Right.
I mean, and it's also your kid. Like how does your kid react when they wake up? Yeah, and are they? Is it easy to get them back to sleep again? I mean, like in my mindset going into becoming a parent. Like, we talked about this before. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna, we don't need to change anything the way we act in the house, or we're just gonna be normal and all that kind of stuff. But then you do have to make some concessions. It's like, especially if like, all right, well, shit, if I'm probably gonna have to be a little quieter because if he wakes up, he's not going to go back to sleep for another 2 or 3 hours, and then I'm definitely not getting shit done at the, anything that I need to do it in the evening. So, it's give and take a little bit.
I'm totally in agreement. I don't know the science behind any of this shit, but from my personal experience, I feel like what you just described, is the right way to do it. If you want them to have to, get accustomed to normal life, right? Because you can't, like you said, like that's just not reality. You can't tiptoe your whole life while somebody's asleep. Now, I'm a very light sleeper, and that's crazy because I was raised right like literally across the street from my apartment building. There was a fire engine, fire engine.
Fire station.
Yeah, fire station. So there was two. There was a hook and a ladder that was coming out of there all hours of the night, blaring sirens, and we have forward-facing windows, so our apartment was getting all that noise, and I got accustomed to it. But then after I left,
Right.
my sensitivities, I
You
guess, started
adjusted to the silence.
the more quiet type of life. Yeah. So, but I can sleep through a ton of shit once I'm asleep. To get me to sleep takes a little bit of time. So my kids, actually, I'm lucky in the fact that we subscribe to that. Like, just don't go crazy, but like, normal noise is fine. And they all can deal with regular house noise without a problem. So do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna take a picture of my girl's evil eye. The evil look she gives. Like,
All right. Well, here's the question, and maybe we know the answer because of the evil eye. But is your girl the one who has to put your daughter back to sleep when she wakes up, or do you have to do it as
no,
well?
I would say, more times than not, she's the one. But it's not even this. Okay, it's not even about putting her back to sleep, because the truth is, once she wakes up, at least now, like, everything changes
Right.
in this age. So there is times we put her back to sleep and it was fine. But now she doesn't go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Once she wakes up, she's like really wakes up, she's up. We'll look at the monitor, and we'll try to like silence the house, and we'll see. And sometimes she'll put herself back to sleep, but more times than not, she stays up. And my girl's thing is not so much about who's putting her back to sleep, is who's gonna be dealing with her throughout the day more often, and it's my girl. And then my daughter's in a bad mood now.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the issue. My girl is more like, I want to have, I want her to be in a good mood when we're throughout the day. And that means the better sleep she gets, the better mood my daughter will be in, which I get it.
Makes sense.
I just want there to be a middle ground, because sometimes I'm just like, yo, this is exaggerated, bro. Or if I'm sick and I'm coughing, like, what do you want me to do?
Right.
I go, why don't you buy me? I told her that, buy me the astronaut mask with oxygen coming in, AC, and that way no one hears me and it's soundproof. Fuck it. What do you want me to do?
Let me ask you this: when you guys are looking at the monitor and she wakes up, when do you guys, run to her?
No, we wait.
You wait.
We wait a good while, like a good 20, 30 minutes. As long as she's not crying.
Okay.
Our whole thing is, as long as she's not crying, because my daughter will wake up and she starts talking jibber jabbish, and she's having conversations with herself, and she's looking at her little stuffed animal in the crib and playing. So as long as she's not crying, we're fine. We'll see. We're like, hopefully she goes back to sleep. And a lot of times she does. But a lot of times she doesn't. So
is her room dark?
That's the other problem. During the day, it's not. It's pretty bright in there, and that's the issue mainly during the midday nap. That once she wakes up, it's too bright in her room, and then she just starts to look at everything, and she gets inspired, and she wakes up.
Right.
Yo, them blackout curtains.
I mean, I have these bootleg blackout joints that I bought. They're like these cardboard accordion, like paper accordion joints that I put behind the blinds. They did not work out.
The ñoque barato joints.
Basically, bro, it's pretty bootleg. But now we're gonna invest in some real deal joints.
Yeah, I think that'll change everything. Because
I think so too.
We had that. My son, back to my son being like the super woke child, wakes up crack of dawn every day. The blackout curtains actually extended it by like an hour, which saved us a whole ton of hurt, because it'd be 5:30, 6 a.m. sometimes on a random day. And we'd be like, on a weekend too. And we'd be like, what the fuck, bro? Like, chill. So that shit saves lives.
What about soundproofing the room? You guys done that?
Nah.
Because I was like, fuck it, I'll take the studio into the room. Like, I'll fucking soundproof that bitch. She won't hear anything. You know what I'm saying?
Again, back to the original thing. That's not real life.
No, it's not real life. You can't soundproof your life. I mean, you can.
But the idea that your girl has about just consistent sleep patterns, sleep habits, I definitely believe in that. I mean,
No, I believe in it.
I mean, you can't always. It's not like you're always going to be able to get him to sleep at the exact same time. But I did notice, like with my son, he's got like a threshold. there's his bedtime is generally between 7:30 and 8. We try to get things moving in that direction. It's not like he always falls asleep at 8 o'clock, but if he's in
Right.
bed by then and it's headed towards sleep and we're reading and all that kind of stuff, he's got that. It's almost like a 30-minute window between 7:30 and 8. Too much after that, then he becomes overtired, and then
But he doesn't take midday naps, right?
No.
Okay.
We actually had to stop we had to stop him doing the
siestas?
naps probably when he was 3 or 4, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's when
three
we
or
stopped.
4.
Good to know.
Yeah, 3 or 4, because he wasn't able to. He would take a nap, and then all of a sudden he wouldn't be able to fall asleep until like 10 o'clock at night, something like that.
Yeah, that sucks.
Whose vibrator's popping?
Pause.
That's my phone going off.
So let me ask you guys this. So like when we go out and we go out with the kids, dinner I guess is usually like the good example. We want to have a good time, obviously, right? We're going out, doesn't happen often with the whole family. We want the kids to behave, eat, do what they got to do so that things just are chill and we can enjoy the night. But then there are these moments where, especially with my 3-year-old, she starts to bug out. And I'll use bug out might be strong, but she'll, act a little bit more rambunctious than we have the tolerance for in that setting, right? And I get really frustrated. And I checked myself not that long ago. Like I was looking at the way I was moving with her, like handling the situation, and I realized I was more disciplining out of what I call embarrassment, right? I was disciplining more out of embarrassment of what I think everybody else is saying versus my just my kid and how she's really truly behaving,
Right.
which in reality wasn't crazy. Like how you got those kids that are throwing shit or like annoying the table next to you. It wasn't that kind of party. It was just her. She wanted like crayons or something, and we weren't giving it to her.
Right. You want to make it look like you're a parent being on top of your shit, basically.
Yeah, and I came to that realization. I was like, "Yo, why am I like?" I checked myself. I was like, "Why am I doing this? Like, is it really that serious?" And I realized I was like, "Yo, I'm worried about what everybody else thinks." So I'm looking at the situation. I'm like, "Damn, how many other parents are doing this shit and maybe not even realizing they're doing it?" Right? Like, I don't know how you guys handle it when you're out, but it kind of struck me. Something I've been doing, I guess, forever, but it just hit me now that I'm like, yo, this is probably not the best way to handle it.
Go ahead, Kay.
No, I was just gonna say there's probably a lot of parents, myself included, who've probably done that without thinking about it, but just like, oh man, yeah.
But
I'm trying to think back if that's, but yeah, I could see probably a lot of people do that. Like
But-
you want, even if you don't think your kid is doing something super bad, but you want to you're out in public and you want to make folks feel like you have it under control.
Yeah, you know where I'm like that. It's not. I'm good with her being loud. Like I feel. I mean, maybe my girl has a different opinion of it, but I'm pretty all right with her kind of screaming a little bit or being loud. That doesn't bother me too much. In my mind, I'm like, hey, people, this is life. Like, it is what it is. I'm in a public place. But the one place where I do see myself kind of being a little bit like overbearing and kind of like trying to be like, I guess out of embarrassment, how you said, is when she's like roaming. I'm not good at that. Like, my girl's really good at letting our daughter roam and go up to people. I'm not, like, I'm very uncomfortable with her.
Yeah.
Going up to people, going up to other people's kids, grabbing stuff from people. My girl is kind of like how I feel like about her being loud. Like, it is what it is. My girl's just like, hey, it's a little kid and toddler, and you're gonna let them be free. You can't keep them cooped up the whole time. And sometimes they're gonna walk up to people, and you would hope that people understand that. and that's the way my girls kind of take on it is. Where I'm just like, no. Emilia, give personal space, no, stop. No, don't touch, oh, no, give that back. That's me because I'm just uncomfortable with it.
I'm the same. I'm the same in that respect. I'm actually working on that in particular because, to your lady's point, that's part of how they're inquisitive always, but especially when
Right.
they're really young, right? So like you can't you got to try not to handicap them in that space, but it's an embarrassment thing again because I was brought up like, respect this, and that's sometimes it can border disrespect. It's like, yo, you grab some shit from somebody without asking, that's a violation. You open somebody's refrigerator, that's a violation. Like those kinds of
Right.
things. So I struggle with that too.
But is it embarrassment? Because this is my kind of little take on it too. Is like I don't want her to grow up thinking walking up to strangers is okay, because there might be a stranger that is just definitely not okay. And also, like, the interaction with people, like, I don't know, like taking something off of another kid. Or for example, the other day we were somewhere and it was really cute. She interacted with some kids that were a little older than her, and they were all talking and they grabbed her hand and they were walking with her. But then one little girl took her off, like, just they went off running. And I'm right behind them, like I'm not gonna let them keep just go. And so I'm there, like I don't give a damn if I look like I'm overbearing
Right.
parent. I'm gonna follow them. Like they were like going, they were gone. So I'm walking, and then the little girl that's with my daughter picks her up like if she's a baby.
Oh, I hate that shit.
And I'm like, oh, like what do I, like? I'm like, be careful. And my thing is like, I'm not like, my whole thing is I don't want no other parent to talk to my kid, and I don't want to talk to their kid. Like,
Yeah.
that's my take on it. Like I am gonna go and stop my kid, and I expect you to do the same. And this little girl's like holding my daughter like with one leg up in the air and like halfway, and I'm like, oh, if she trips, my daughter's gonna hit the dirt, and it's gonna be bad, but my daughter's not crying, she's not tripping, she's just like just there, like just dealing with it. And I'm just like following them, like, oh my god, I hope the girl doesn't fall. And she's like losing her grip, but finally, like as she was like completely losing her grip, she like put her down. But I was like, nah, man, like why does it have to get to that point?
Shit.
Like, don't talk or touch anyone. Nobody. You're the child in a bubble.
I'm with it.
Good old personal space.
I hear that.
Yeah, I'm gonna build clothing that has like these spikes.
Oh, like it'll just start popping out when somebody tries to lift her? Pshing!
No, it's there. Like she can't move towards anybody, and they can't come close to her. It creates the barrier.
Yo.
So okay,
yes.
you guys don't. What do you do? Am I wrong? Am I right?
No, you're the same. I'd chase after.
The chase after. For sure. Chase for sure.
I'm following. I'm chasing.
No, I'm the same. Yo, I mean, I've been known to tell a kid off when shit gets too crazy. So
it is uncomfortable when you have to tell some. Other
I don't
kid
want to have to deal with that.
Cool
man.
out. Like, yeah.
I don't want to have to. You tell the kid. Okay, I'm not going to use probably cool out when I tell the kid that, but you tell the kid anything, and nobody's around, no adult, and then that kid wants to cry because they just felt like you shut them down. Then go off and tell the parent, bad man. Then I think I did something else. Like, I don't want to deal with that crap too.
Bad man, mama. Shall we bring in our guest?
Yeah,
is it guest time? All
right. So tonight on the Fatherhoods podcast, we got the people's champ, the legendary Paul Wall from H-Town. Give it up.
What's good? What are you in H-Town right now, Paul?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I am on the north side.
All right.
So Paul, you have two kids, right? From
Yeah, I have two. Yeah, my son, he's 13, and my daughter, she just turned 12.
Okay, good ages.
Back to back.
So you had kids, and you were, I guess, kind of knee deep in your career at that point with a lot of stuff going on, just with the scene on Houston and all that good stuff. How was that for you? Was that a balancing act? Was that something that helped keep you grounded? How did you deal with balancing your family and everything that's going on musically?
My whole career was really just a dream come true. You know what I'm saying? Just to be able to pursue my dreams of doing what I love and with people that I admire and look up to me. I mean, that I look up to that inspired me. You know, to be able to work with those type of people. That was, that was my dream come true. So to have a family, be married and have kids, that's something that also was a dream of mine. It was a dream come true. So it for sure was something that was like kind of unbelievable, but something you always hope to have, but you're not sure you don't. I never had confidence that I'd ever be successful in music just because it's such a long shot. And even with marriage and kids, it seemed like a long shot. 50% of marriages end in divorce, and most of the friends I knew, including myself, had some type of dysfunction going on at home. So you know what I'm saying, it just was something for me to be a proud parent, proud husband. You know what I'm saying, it's something I really look forward to just as much or even more so than the music career. But it for sure was I would say a balancing act, because within the music industry or just in a lot of industries in general, when it's like that, it's so much facade and so much smoke and mirrors going on. But to be married and have kids that are a part of me, come from me, that I also can teach, and just that's just the most meaningful of all. That means more than any other type of success, more than a hit song or platinum record or anything like that.
You mentioned something that we often go back and talk about on this show, and that is kind of your upbringing and your family dynamic coming up. Like, could you tell us a little bit about how you grew up, what your parental situation was, and some of those moments?
Yeah, I was blessed to have a mother that was a teacher for 20 plus years, almost 30 years. So her and my grandfather as well, her dad, he was an educator as well. When he came out of the Army, he served in the military. After that, he became an educator. So education was something that was always important, taught to us. That his my grandfather, his family came from North Carolina, where they grew up in extreme poverty. So the only way to get out of the poverty was to get an education. So that's something he truly believed. So when he joined the military, he used the military to earn an education, and then he became a educator as well. And my mother, she became an educator as well, a teacher. So that was something that was always real important. It always taught to me that, just education, and not necessarily a scholar's education of, going to school, but just life education. That was just as
learn
important.
your shit. Yeah.
Right. A cultural education, not just from the books, but from meeting people in real life. That's from my mother's side. Now, my father's side, my biological father, I really didn't know and still don't know too much about his side of the family, just being that I haven't seen him since I was 6 years old. But, wow. He had what I do know of him, he was a drug addict. He was addicted to heroin. He was an alcoholic. He was a child molester. I believe the last that I saw him, he had ended up kidnapping a girl. And it's really a crazy story, man, but it's all factual, man. Rest in peace to whoever this girl is. He kidnapped this girl and took her to Canada. They ended up getting caught, and they sent her back home to live with her biological father, and they sent him back. He ended up, I don't know if he went to jail for whatever. This is before there was any sex offender registry. Mm. But the girl, she ended up going back to live with her biological father, who was molesting her as well.
Oh,
and she ended up killing herself. It's a funny story, but
that's terrible.
This a girl. This something where the girl was 12 years old, dressed up with a wig and makeup on, and I'm you know, 5 years old, going to spend the weekends at my my biological dad house. And I don't know, you know, I'm 5 years old. I don't know. He like, yeah, that's my new girlfriend, and it's a little girl. That's some
Wow.
crazy shit right there.
Wow.
Uh, but anyway, other than that, you know, when all of that happened, he got real behind on his child support payments, and my mom had remarried, so we took him to court to separate all custodial rights, and my stepdad ended up adopting me as his own, and my biological father, he couldn't do anything to fight it because he didn't have the money to back child support, and it just wouldn't. The judge granted anyway. Anyway, make a long story short, my stepfather adopted me, and from there, he was I looked at him as being a good man who taught me what being a man was all about, taught me what hard work was all about. So I kind of had a good and a bad through a lot of my childhood of experiencing some craziness and some crazy shit, but at the same time, having a positive role model right there to and my mom and my stepfather to kind of show me and teach me what life is all about, what's important to you, what it takes and what it makes me to be a proud man. Or one of the things I strive for is to make my parents proud and make my wife and my kids proud. You know what I'm saying? So, in everything that I do. So, you know what I'm saying? It's that's my childhood in under 30 seconds.
Big up to your step pops for real, though.
Yeah.
And your moms too. But for him to step up, that was real,
What
big of him.
I find fascinating in this story, well, there's a lot. Shit's kind of unbelievable. So I know you've been in the acting game a little bit. So I'm hoping there's a movie or some shit because this shit is like, it's got all the cinematic qualities. I feel like, but you were fortunate. I mean, unfortunately, you had that father situation, but fortunately, you had two seems like strong male figures in your life, right? Your grandfather you mentioned, and also your stepdad. Did,
Yeah, for
did you
sure.
did you ever feel that need for your biological, given that you had these two men in your life as well?
Nah, I didn't at all. There might have been like a sense of pain of a child wanting, to know his father,
Yeah,
because
have a
I
connection.
think say what?
No, that you probably wanted, the connection to your father when you was a
Oh,
kid.
I thought you said we had a bad
Oh,
connection.
no, no, no.
Yeah,
That too, though.
there might have been that, at an earlier stage, but I think as I grew, I mean, my mother, she was molested by her grandfather on both sides of her family. So that was, I look at every stage of my life as being something that is a path that was set before me before I even walked it. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
whatever happened with it, I accepted it very early on as this is what's meant to be. So I mean, not that he would have molested me or something like, because he wasn't molesting boys, he was molesting girls. But maybe he would have molested my sister if we would have continued to be living there or something like that. I don't know, but I definitely didn't want to be around that. He's a drug addict and child molester. I don't want that as a father, even if it is my father. I don't want to be around that because that's going to lead me down a path of destruction as well. So I'm a firm believer in that God removed me from that situation to protect me or to lead me down a different path. So some of those feelings of, whatever the bad feelings were, they were, I mean, they brushed away real quick. And just, I felt strongly that I had a path that it was meant for me to go down. And it's something, these type of things are something that I was aware of already because of, this is something my mom instilled in me. She was a real spiritual person. And it was just something that she instilled in me. And I think being that she herself was molested, and she also was raped by somebody, man, my mama got a crazy, man, my whole, man, it's really a crazy story. It's like really unbelievable. But she, being that was something we were aware of, you know what I'm saying? That those type of things, that's how that's how my biological father kind of sought out my mom. He didn't molest her, and they was like around the same age, but he preyed on the fact that my mom was, I guess, would be naive or was, I don't know. It was just, a lot of this was crazy, man. But I accepted it for what it was, and I didn't question it at all. Like, why me or why this? It just was I also was somebody who I saw a lot of people around me who had it worse, in one way or another. And, you know what I'm saying? So I'm a very grateful person. And so whatever comes my way, I accept it as this is what's meant for me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to complain about it because it could be worse,
That's for sure.
Shit.
Yep.
That's yo.
That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, that's the best positive spin I ever heard, bro. Because shit's crazy.
You teach seminars to look at it that way.
Yeah. Hey, talking about drugs real quick. So this past year, we definitely lost a lot of young, upcoming artists. And a lot of it was linked to just a variety of drug use. And there's a lot of the music nowadays that there's a lot of just references to all kinds of drug use. Since you have younger kids that are coming into teenage years, how do you navigate that, and what kind of convos have you had with them about the music that they may or may not be listening to, and the messages that are in the music, and sparking that balance as well?
Man, it's a fine line, not only from the drug use, but also just on the promiscuity that we promote in a lot of the music. It's a lot of recklessness that sometimes we, toe the line on. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of it, and I mean, I think a lot of it is just to be open. I think for sure, these are conversations I have with my kids about all of this. All these things we talking about, and what I tell my kids is, there's a time and a place for everything, and some things we don't do, and some things are just off limits. I might smoke weed. Okay, that's one thing, but you're not ever gonna hear me smoking crack. Some people do cocaine. We don't do cocaine. We don't do this or that. I might smoke weed, but that's gonna be about it. We might drink a little alcohol here and there, but you gotta always know when to say when. And a lot of this is, I do admit, is hypocritical on some levels, because there's poisons, and all of these things are poisons. But this is the way that I can just be as honest as I can with my kids about it. You know what I'm saying? And my kids they're at a stage where they're like, nah, I ain't never gonna smoke weed. I ain't never gonna do this or that. Because they see a lot of the negative effects of it. You know what I'm saying? Not just weed, but all the things from pills and this and that. And it's very tough to explain to a child that the doctor said it's okay to take this medicine, but you're going to become addicted to it, and then you're going to be taking these pills on the street every day. But the law say you can't smoke weed, so don't smoke weed. You know what I'm saying? It's very difficult to explain to a child and grasp. When I was a child, I remember as a child being that my father was addicted to heroin. Another thing, I asked my mama this the other day, or it was a year ago now, but I said, what was the final straw that made you get a divorce from him for you? And she said that he was a heavy weed smoker. He smoked weed all day, every day, and a cop moved in next door, and my mama just knew that he was about to go to jail. So and she didn't want him to go to jail and all of us to go to jail with him. So she said she made him quit, and he wouldn't quit. So she was like, all right, that's it. Enough's enough. But of course, that resonated with me because being a heavy serve is an opiate just like heroin, although it's a mild opiate, not like heroin is, but it still is, a opiate. And of course, being a heavy weed smoker as well, like, damn, shit, I see myself going down some similar paths, and it, the poison and destruction that was before me is I'm walking down the same path. So how can I use that to better myself, and at the same time, stop these things when it comes to my kids? I don't want them to go down the path, as well. But anyway, I was saying that because when I was a child growing up, being that I saw my father as being an alcoholic and a heroin user and drug addict, we would have to go to Al-Anon and Alateen. These are things that I would have to go to as a family member of a drug addict, family member of an alcoholic. So this is something I was paranoid of for a long time. Like, and they use a scare tactic to try to, scare you away from it. You think if you just sniff a beard and you're going to turn into a crackhead.
Right.
But that is exactly how it works, So I didn't want to do them type of things, that type of education with my kids. I didn't want to I wanted to be open and honest with them, and I showed them, okay, look, this is the person who, drink beer all their life. This is the person who do cocaine all their life. This is the person who smoke weed all their life. This is the person who smoke crack all their life. This is the person who do heroin all their life. This, this is what meth look like. This is what Xanax make you look like. And you can see now. Sometimes you just take it one time, that ain't gonna kill you, but a lot of times, one time turn into 10, and 10 turn into every day. So those are things that you just, I don't know. That's the only way I can explain it to my kids is that, and a lot of it is hypocritical, but at the same time, I explain them the same ways when I talk about eating meat or eating processed food or eating milk or, these type of things. Just, hey, I'm going to try my best. You might see me eat some tacos and nachos here and there, but I'm going to try not to eat too much meat. I might eat some ribs every now and then, but I'm going to try not to eat that much pork. You know what I'm saying? But so this thing
moderation.
Like this, moderation is the best way in any of this. And I would say the same comes when in the music. That's about 10 minutes for me to just tell you this 10-minute precursor to my next answer. But for the music, it's the same thing of, it's a lot of it is in moderation. Every song can't be about smoking weed. Every song can't be about sipping syrup. Every song can't be about having sex. Every song can't be about this. You gotta, as an artist, of course we have different lanes we might travel in, but it's just all in moderation. And I don't know. I look at the music I make as, how can I explain this to my kid or even my mama? It's like, that don't mean it gotta all be G-rated, but at the same time, it gotta be something that I can make them proud of. Now, I will say that I've always been an artist, like even in my earlier days with the Swisher House, back in those days, I didn't sip syrup or smoke weed at all back in those days. So, it was just something that, as I grew as an adult, these are things that I tried and then fell in love with. But back in those days, I didn't cuss either. So, it's certain things I didn't do in those days as I was a child. And as I grew, just certain things changed. But at every time of my life, I always wanted to be somebody that my mama would be proud of and that my kids will one day be proud of. But even then, looking back at some of my music back in those days, man, it was a lot of, I might not have been saying bitch and hoe, but it was a lot of misogynist music. It was a lot of things. It's like, damn, man, I was going hard on fat girls back in the day. Just whatever. It was a lot of things I did say in my music that, like, even though I might not have been cussing. I might have said some disrespectful things here and there, but I always try to, for the time it didn't seem like that, but when you go back and listen to you, like, damn, man, I was going hard. What was I saying? I was tripping. Why was I so tripping? But I don't know, so some of that is, I kind of grow with the times with it with my music. I've tried to, but for sure with my kids, I just try to be completely open and honest with them. And same with my music or whatever you hear in my music, that's who I am at the time. If I'm on music, I'm not cussing, it's because I ain't cussing in real life. And if I'm on music, I'm not sipping syrup, I'm not sipping syrup in real life, or whatever. But it's all in moderation. It can't just be all about this or that.
How easy was all that to sink in when you started talking to them about this stuff? Do they seem to get it quickly, or did it take several combos? I guess it's an ongoing combo.
Yeah, it really is an ongoing convo because, especially thinking, I think back to when I was a child too. Of you think you got to figure it out. You think you know everything.
Right.
So when you hear things, you think, no, you doing it wrong. You should be doing it like this. Because a lot of, I don't know, just in as a child, you don't really understand the world or these type of different things. It's easy to say, oh, I'll never do that. When you're never faced with this or that. And I don't mean like, like, I don't even mean just with taking drugs or anything like that. I just mean just in every path in life. It's easy to say what you would do or wouldn't do and tell you. It's just like it's easy to say what Tom Brady gonna do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But, he need to do this, he need to do that. But I ain't Tom Brady. There's a reason why he's Tom Brady and I'm not, because he's doing those things and I'm not. So it's easy for me to make criticism of him. It's the same thing with life. So it's all as they grow, it's just an ongoing conversation of trying to be honest with them. And some things is just, aren't allowed. And that, that's because they just not allowed, but as you get older and, I don't want to overprotect them from things to where when they of age to make their own decisions to do what they want to do, it's like Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny and things like that. I got to keep it real with them on different things. Just because if you don't, then when they experience real life, they're gonna think you've been lying to them, and it's just a mistrust. It's just I don't know. It just starts to grow. So I don't know. I just try to be open and honest with them, and I'm not perfect by any means. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I'm open and honest with them as well. I make plenty of mistakes, and I'm not perfect by any means. So, it's never I'm the king and you got to follow my rules. Nah, this is we got a lot of people been before us on this earth, and if we're gonna continue, and they're a continuation of me and my wife, and if they're gonna continue to grow and grow our family lineage wherever it goes, I want them to have a good, healthy, happy life.
What when you look at your career musically, what are there aspects of it that you like, when you're talking to your kids, do they have aspirations to follow kind of in your footsteps musically? And if that's come up, like, are there any like areas of that career path that you kind of want them to avoid?
For sure, they had a talent to. If that's something they wanted to pursue, they both do. They have the talent. But as we all know, it takes a lot more than that, and it's not something I would want for either one of them, because it's something where you see, just how hard it is and how long term it is, and it's a lot of benefits, and I wouldn't trade for the. Of course, I'm extremely grateful, but I see so many broken hearts in this industry, just all over the world, of people who had aspirations to make it. They gave it their all. They did everything they thought they were supposed to do, and maybe everything they were supposed to do, and just for whatever reason, they don't make it. Man, it'll break your heart. You know what I'm saying? And it's also cutthroat. So the game will break. People will break your heart. You know what I'm saying? From taking from you. So I wouldn't want that from them, but I can't protect them from the world. You know what I'm saying? The world is what the world is. I can just try to prepare them for it. Even in this, if this is something they wanted to do, I would definitely try to help them. I wouldn't do it for them.
Yeah.
Some things I would kind of help them, mold them, but at the end of the day too, they their own people too. They not Paul Wall. They not my son. He not Paul Wall Jr. My daughter, she not Paul Wall Jr. They their own people. So, you know what I'm saying? I would encourage them to be, who they are, not be like a mini version of Paul Wall. You know what I'm saying? But,
they spent
like
much time in the studio with you?
Yeah, they both do. Well, my daughter do especially. My son do as well, though. Every now and then I'll get them in there on a track doing something, you know what I'm saying, just to contribute here and there. So they got their name on a few credits here and there. They own a couple iTunes songs. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope.
So they can stunt on their friends at school. But for the most part, it's that's to show them too, like how real it can get. Like, it's just something you really want to do. It's real. We got the studio, the engineers, producers, the videographers, the directors, photographers, anything it takes. Shit, we got it all right here, to do. But it take more than that. Sometimes it's just, the needle in the haystack, luck of the draw. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Sometimes it's predestined to be for people who don't have none of that. You know what I'm saying? It's what's meant to be. So, it's something that they know is there if they so choose it. But they see a lot of what me and my wife deal with too, just the scrutiny of being in the spotlight. And that takes it takes a wear and tear on you, especially if you're a young child and having to deal with, what strangers are saying about your parents, and then what strangers are saying about you. And it's just something that the world do anyway. They do that about you if you're famous or you're not famous. People are gonna talk about you. It's just something you gotta learn to deal with and let your skin grow thick, or learn a way to adjust and avoid it, or whatever you gotta do to, in a positive way, move forward from it and not let it bog you down and hold you down, or the criticism of others. But it's for sure something that they see is there. They recognize in with us, and that they see, because they might be on a picture with us, a picture of me and my wife, and then somebody got something smart to say about, one of my kids or something. They're like, damn, that's mean. Why would people say mean stuff? Things like that. And even if somebody say 100, if there's 100 positive comments, all it takes is the one negative that stands out. Like, damn, if the whole wall is white, there's one red dot. That red dot is gonna stand out.
Do you let them have? Do they have their own social media accounts? You guys let them do that?
Nah, they don't. They don't. I think my son might have just started some, not Reddit, but something like that. He got
TikTok.
Nah. He got what he got? Discord. He got Discord.
Oh, okay. The comment joint.
Cause I ain't on there. He think I ain't on there till I start a ghost account, start following him. Talking about make sure you ain't saying nothing crazy on there. Nah. But all my kids are they're stand up individuals. You know what I'm saying? They're both. We taught them well. They both curious as well. They living in the dawn of the internet age. So this is a teach yourself kind of age. It's definitely it's like when you're in school, you learn about the Iron Age and the Gold Age, and then there's the Tech Age, and all these different things. It's really that's why I tell them I was born before the internet. How old are you? I'm older than the internet, bro.
Right.
I'm gonna start saying that. That's probably more profound than actually the number of your age.
I was born before ATMs.
Pre-internet.
Yeah. We
flip phones.
Yeah, man.
So Paul,
we older than the internet, bro.
Paul, what are you doing these days? Like, what do people need to know about Paul Wall these days?
I'm doing my music. I got my own studio. I put out my music pretty often here. I got a lot of music ready to go as well. But a lot of it is just me growing I never ever had aspirations of wanting to be a CEO or anything like that, or specifically putting out other artists, because it's a lot of babysitting you got to do. But man, it's so much more money to be made when you put out your own music, and it ain't all about the money. But one thing I realize is that when you have investors, you got outside people putting money up or doing things with you or working with you. They have their interests, and usually it's a financial interest, which means they want to do the things, they want to do whatever it takes to sell the most music and make the most money.
Yeah.
Where my goal as an artist, especially where I'm at right now, ain't none of that. And I'm cool. I mean, of course I want to make money, but the art and the culture is more important to me than just the paycheck. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to make music that is gonna sell the most. I'm trying to make music, even if it's for a niche audience, a smaller audience, it's the slab community, whatever. I gotta do it for my people. This is what we gotta do. Shit, because this is something that I really, inspired me to be who I am, jamming screw tapes and riding slab. So it's something that, I hope to continue to pass on. So I'm still putting out music and doing things, but it's more on a local, regional level. Of course, it's independent, but it's, more for my, more for the slab community. I say, I've been doing a few mixtapes here and there, a lot of freestyle mixtapes, kind of how it was back in the day, how I came up on the Swisher House. Of course, I got a couple albums here and there, all original. The joint Me and Static, we just put that out. But for the most part, I've been kicking back, just in loving being a father and being a husband. But at the same time, I've been grinding out there doing shows. I ain't been slipping at all. I've been on that road completely nonstop, putting music out as well nonstop. But for the most part, I'm just enjoying my life, bro, for real. Having a great life, man.
But before we wrap it up, just to touch on the music that you've been putting out, that's one of the things that I always liked about Texas and the hip hop community. It always seems that
self-sufficient
artists could make a great living. Like, you might not know that an artist is dropping material and making a good living, but you can just do it regionally within your area because the community supports. That seems to have always rang true for some years now. Is that still the move there?
Most definitely. Of course, it takes hard work. It do take talent. But that's something that Jay Prince showed us a long time ago, man. Jay Prince, Tony Draper, D-Reg from Rec Shop, of course, Screw with the Screwed Up Click, and then Michael Watts and G-T Ferris with the Swisher House, man. It's just something that, SPM did it with Dope Houses, man. If you go out there and grind, you put a good product out there, and you work, man, there's definitely a community that will support. And believe it or not, the same thing holds true all over the country. It's not the way we expect it. A lot of times we have our expectations get in the way of the blessings that are right there in front of us. So we might have a certain expectation that we believe or we think this is how it's supposed to go. This is what people are supposed to, do. But the blessing is right in front of our face. We don't recognize because we're too busy concerned with what we don't have. But it's funny because people always tell me, man, we go to Florida, Atlanta, LA, New York, no matter where we go, that people always tell us, man, I wish we could stick together like y'all boys do down at H-Town. But man, there's so much beefing and inner turmoil and jealousy and hatred and, man, crabs in the bucket mentality still, and it always has been in Houston. It's like that in every city, but at the same time, there's unity. There's a lot of people in Houston that support one another. We got each other's back and we lift each other up. There are a lot of people like that. But there's crabs in the bucket as well. But it's like that in every city. In Houston right now, they saying, damn, man, we need to stick together like they do in Atlanta. And you see how them boys do in Florida, man, that's how we need to stick together. You see how they doing it in LA, man, in the Bay Area, that's how we need to stick together. That's the same thing they saying in H-Town. So it's just crazy. It's just it's there, but we all want it our way. And if it ain't our way, then it's the game fucked up. The game messed up.
Right.
But God got. I'm a firm believer that God got a plan for us, and sometimes you gotta follow the path, even if even if you can't see where you're going, man. You just gotta even if you're walking in faith. And I'm a firm. My whole entire show set, every song I do, every concert I do, and I'm doing the same as out 2-3 concerts a week. My whole set list is a song. Every song is a song I wasn't feeling. I like this other beat. Let's do this other one. And the next thing you know, the one I'm not feeling turned into a hit, and I'm still doing shows off it. So I'm a firm believer in that. I can be wrong. Being right is not important. Being successful is what's important.
Facts.
Me being correct about what I think should happen is not the important thing. But to some people, that's the most important thing, is them being right, and it's their way or no way.
So the ego gets in the way.
Well, Paul, man, we really appreciate you spending the time with us. It was a pleasure hearing your story, and we look forward to hearing more music from you for sure. And
yes, sir.
And more news on that parenthood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, man. Let me know when we're ready to shoot the movie, man. I'm ready.
Let's do it.
I'm ready.
Yo, if you can hang on real quick for a moment, we just want to get a quick Paul Wall drop, if you don't mind.
For sure, man. For sure.
All right. For the rest of y'all, that's another one. Peace.